Hey, Pro Tabletop fans, Tabletop Life, we're here. This is Thomas Bird. We're talking about our ATC list. It's a little bit outside of the norm. I'm here to go over the list, talk about why, and hopefully I've made some good choices. It could be backfiring, we shall see. But the kind of the picture you have on the screen here, blue guys versus red guys. That's the inevitable question I get from my teammates. Why aren't I playing the Blood Angels? They're clearly the superior faction from all the internet pundits in terms of Marines. Marine power, Blood Angels number one. Blue guys, they're still good, but Marines are struggling. So why am I playing blue guys instead of red guys? Like, have you met me? Have you been on this channel? Oh, I love some blue guys. I do actually own Blood Angels, quite a bit of them. So I could have easily played the Blood Angel list. But who am I kidding? I love the blue guys. Sorry, haters. You can just be sad with my lesser version of Marines. Hopefully, I can still pull some magic out of the hat and do some work. So with that in mind, let's talk about the list. So, I like to iterate on my old lists over and over and over again, and I had several versions, more versions I can count. I was going to play around with taking Gilman in there. We just was like, we're going to have fun. I'm on a different team than my main kind of like super competitive team. So we're on the dad team. So it's much less serious. We're just going to hang out and have a good time. But, me being me, got to be thinking about the full power. And do I want to run Gilman or not? I did have many Gilman games. They were super fun. He was in the list. I changed it. Must have been 14 times uploading. And, finally, I settled on this list outside of that. So this list is way different. Boy, I talk about from one extreme to the other. No fire discipline in a Gladius. I think I must be, doing it wrong because like that's one of the best things in the Codex. Certainly with Eradicators, one of the best units in the game. Arguably top 5, at least top 10. And I don't have it anywhere in the list. Nowhere to be seen. So mistakes might have been made. We shall see. But what I kind of went into this list thinking is I really think there are going to be a lot of Marines. We're going to be talking about teams, so matchup dependent. Any Marine version that's going to be out there is likely going to be Blood Angels. So I wanted to have an answer for Blood Angels on the team. And I kind of just want to try some different stuff. Like I said, we were trying to make it less serious. I have WTC coming up, so I was trying to test some ideas for WTC. Those lists are due soon, so I had these different modules, and I was like, well, let me squeeze all the points. And every time you start playing around with the points, you're like, just not quite fitting. I have to drop this unit. I have to add that unit. To get the points to line out, I came up with this concoction here. So I played a couple games with it. It does do work. It's surprising, but it does have some missing pieces. And so either through matchups or just through sheer force of will playing the game, I have my work cut out for me. It's funny going through some of the lists and kind of looking at it. I'm like, oh yeah, I got that. Oh, wait a minute. I don't have, well, that might be a little bit tougher. So we'll see. So let's jump into it, right? So of course we have Calgar. No Gilliman, sad. I'm already have list regret. I'm like, can I change my list? I have a Judiciar times 2, and I got the Fighty Captain. So the Judiciars, obviously we got Fight First with the changes to the Impulsor. We can now fit 7 guys in there, so a 6-man Blade Guard with a Judiciar or whatever character you like can fit inside of Impulsor. Very spicy. With a lot of the melee army, Sisters are one that come to mind. Blood Angels, obviously we talked about those guys. Having some kind of Fight First, Dark Eldar. In teams formats, those are lists that are potentially very disruptive. It's nice to have answers for that. So those are the 4 characters, not tons and tons of characters. We have 2 units of scouts for the uppy downy. We got 2 6-man Blade Guard squads. I had to do some last minute painting. Nothing like a tournament to make you have to paint more models. I was like, yeah, I got 12 Blade Guard. I went to the closet and these guys aren't even half painted. I had to go paint some more guys. Mistakes were made double. 2 Impulsors, 2 Lancers. I got to do some highlights on that guy. Man, so much more painting. 2 units of 3. I like to run the 6-man, but I took the incursors out. So I was like, do I really want 6? I want more activation. So I went for 2 3-mans instead of 1 6-man. but still all bolter interceptors. Love the bolter interceptors. This list was like slanting so heavily into melee, I just didn't have any shooting. So I was like, well, I got to put these guys in. I almost had 3 Blade Guard units. Crazy. We have a Fire Strike Servo Turret, because, yeah, I had 75 points, and Fire Strike Servo Turrets are great. It's great for doing actions. I needed some more anti-tank, because I didn't have no Eradicators. Like, I have a marginal amount of anti-tank in my mind, but we can shoot some things. 2 Company Heroes. Look at this. This also required more painting, because who has 2 Company Hero painted? But I had to do it. I love the Company Hero squad. Why are they in there? I don't have Assault Intercessors. I just have a unit of regular Intercessors. So the reasoning why was the captain with the Assault Intercessors, a great missile. Runs in, full rerolls to wound or reroll 1s, does a lot of work, and then he dies. In this list, I wanted to make the melees a little bit more durable. Obviously, we have the Blade Guard with all the invulnerable saves. We know Calgar is a beast inside the hero squad, but the captain, he's like, I just die like a chump. I want him to stick around for another turn, potentially, or do some shenanigans inside the Impulsor. And giving him a hero squad kind of does that twofold. 1, I can jump out of the Impulsor after it advances and still shoot. Pretty powerful. His shooting, I mean, hero squad shooting is, but like it's way better than a unit of Assault Intercessors. They're still OC2, so it ends up being OC10 with 5 guys with the banner guys. So it still ends up being the same OC if you need to run and jump on an objective. And then just -1 to wound, and all the wounds lets that captain potentially tank a little bit more of a hit and not just fold up and die like these Assault Intercessors typically do. Now, his killing potential is certainly down without the reroll wounds, but there's always going to be some trade-offs there. So that's the combination is here. The captain goes with one of the heroes. Calgar goes with the other. We have the intercessors here instead of assault ones because we want to have some sticky objectives. We want to push forward with all these other units. We want to sticky our home base and potentially leave, jump into an impulsor, run around, maybe sticky other things. But really, we also want to have at least one battle line unit just in case the opponent wants to do secret missions. Nothing like giving up 20 points on the last turn because they killed all your battle line. Intercessors are not assault intercessors. They're not running up and dying, suiciding the one battle line unit you have. Captain, I love you to death. I love the intercessors. Ideally, you have both, but like points are weird. I didn't want to have 20 points left over, which is what I had in 1980, and I was like, this is not okay. But intercessors, they can kind of play the late game. If an impulsor's still alive, they can jump out and be anywhere on the board. So that gives me the option to one steal secondary secret mission or, stop my opponent from getting it. So that's what their job is just to try to live, maybe sticky some objectives, but primarily just be annoying and save me points or get me points at the end. So that's the list. Blade Guard with the fight first. There's a whole nuance to the assault phase that you have to kind of play around to maximize that. But with Heroic Intervention only costing 1 CP, you can certainly put these guys out in certain places where if you know they want to come and fight you, you can just stage these guys nearby, Heroic Intervene, and now you get to fight first. Most people don't want to charge Blade Guard. It just depends on the unit, right? So when you start talking about big anti-tank, big monsters, big tanks, knights or big monsters, it starts to break down a little bit because it's only strength 5, 2 damage. You can get +1 to wound, but it's a whole thing, right? It takes a lot of setup. So they only want to melee certain things, but 4-up saves, they just make some, and then you could do a lot with that. So I've had them take lots of damage, reroll 1s for their invulnerable save. So this list is really kind of about, depending on the matchup, if you get a good match, you can really be aggressive, push forward, jump off from the impulsors and do advance and charge, and then reload. Calgar is always advancing and charging. You have some shooting, so not tons in terms of what I'm used to, but you still got turrets, you still got tanks. They're very hyper efficient with all the rerolls, so you can do some damage on big targets. And then you get some little bolter guys to get actions and just pick up annoying small units running around the board scoring points. So it's a little bit of a hybrid. I didn't go full melee, but that's the list. That's the reasoning. We'll see. We started looking at the ATC list that came out, so I was like, kicking myself because it's just harder. But hey, I'm up to the challenge. Sometimes you got to take off the training wheels, the crutch. You're used to playing the same thing over and over again, so sometimes you can get a little stale and you want some change, but you also got to improve your game. So I want to really focus on the melee piece of this and see if I can't do some magic. There are a lot of tricks in this. This is pretty interesting with the impulsors, what you can do, and what the blade guard. Probably next is new missions, new maps. It's all brand new, so we shall see. The big takers out there, new sisters. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. Always got some knights, and I'm like, got to take some knights. So I feel pretty confident into the matches, most of them. There's a couple that it would be better in the others, but like that's what teams are about. Like you can't always be the best into everything, and that's what your teammates are for. They cover the matches, and potentially you get to pair into different things. So we'll see how that translates into the tabletop, and we'll come back after ATC. Maybe I'll have some videos during, I don't know, of what the results are and how it performed.